Thank you, Anu, for calling me here. It's a great pleasure. One thing I always dreamt of was to go near IIT campus. I'm from Delhi, so I didn't have a chance to. The only thing I went to IIT was the rendezvous, the festival. I did my schooling from Delhi and then my commerce from Shriram, which is kind of IIT for commerce in a way. But always a dream to be here with all of you here. And two, three things I would say. One, when I was sitting, I saw and realized that the seats are all bolted. Normally in our colleges, we could move around with the chairs a bit. I think that's whoever thought about it, from an entrepreneurship point of view, it is a very good trait because it will take a lot of rigor, a lot of effort for everybody to build up businesses. And it's not building business is also not very easy. It takes a lot of time, a lot of patience. And if you're grounded like this in your class, I think that is the first lesson which is there for everybody. I think while I have put together a short presentation about Fino journey, my own leadership traits, something on consumerism, on fintechs. But the entire, I think the maximum output or gains will come from the question answer session. We can do two ways. One is that I can finish this presentation and you can ask as many questions you want to ask, or you can even pause in between. I don't know what is the...
So
7?
So
1 hour, 15 minutes. So you can even pause me and maybe ask me questions slide by slide. I believe I was not aware you have a exam, whatever it is, but a lot of answers are there in the presentation. So I didn't realize it from that point of view. And how do I move?
you to inspire people to take up these lines. So it's not
See, yeah. See, I mean, when Anu was talking about becoming a bank, and I think she's absolutely right because when you look at the startups, and let me just digress a bit and come to her point. When you look at startups in the country, the ones which are really D2C startups like Zomato, Swiggy, Urban Company, all of them, they are in a non-regulated kind of a space. Very D2C consumer startups which are there. So they have a lot of freedom, a lot of things they can do, whether it comes to pricing, whether it comes to delivery, the way they can think, they can start executing it. And in fintechs, it is light touch regulation to start with. RBI comes out with light touch regulations, and there are a lot of fintechs which are there, like Paytm, PhonePe, a lot of payment systems which are there. Companies in lending also, there are multiple startups in the lending space as well. But they are all very light touch. For somebody to move up the chain from a fintech to a bank, a lot of things actually goes into it. A lot of rigor, a lot of compliances. The cost of compliance itself is very high. So from that point of view, becoming a bank obviously is one of the dreams with a lot of people. Let me also tell you about my own journey. So after passing out from Shriram and I did my CA and ICWA, I worked in Maruti for a couple of years immediately after, and then I joined ICICI Limited. That was before it became ICICI Bank. And ICICI Bank came in 2003, I joined in 96. So at that point of time, my only dream was to be part of financial services, to be working in a bank. And that time, the liberalization had just started. Most of you would have been born in 2000 plus. But liberalization had just started in 93, 94. Harshal Mehta scam happened in 93. And the market was very, very tight, but it started to open up. And we saw new generation banks come up in 95, ICICI Bank, HDFC banks, a lot of those things. So somebody to go back 30 years, it was a very different world, very, very different world. The entire thing was very close. To get Forex, we had to write to RBI, get their approval. So a lot of things have changed in the last 30 years. So when I joined, my first, I would say, endeavor in financial services was to be just working for a bank or an institution. And ICICI is a great institution. It's one of the best institutions in financial services. When I talk about ICICI Limited or when it became ICICI Bank, I never thought at that point of time that at one point in time, I would be starting my own bank. And this is not once, but twice we are doing it. And maybe if God willing, we'll do it 3 times. And I'll talk about it as we go into the presentation. But when at this age, I'm sure you must be 20, 22, maybe around that age, you would not know what is going to come in future. Absolutely. It's destined to be like that. It will be like that. You might think, I want to do this, but you will eventually settle for something different. And same happened for us also. Obviously, at our times, the opportunities were very limited. There were not many things one could look at. बहुत अच्छा बच्चा है तो MBA डॉक्टर बनेगा, थोड़ा कम है तो no offense to engineers, but थोड़ा engineer बन जाएगा, और बिल्कुल ही कम है तो he will become a commerce. But now with so many opportunities coming for people, I think the world is at your doorstep. You have to think big. You have to keep on dreaming, because if you dream, then only you can actually achieve something. So let me talk about Fino journey and the kind of problem we started. So so I was at my 96, I joined ICICI Limited, became ICICI Bank. Then I joined IFC. I don't know how many people know about IFC. IFC is part of the World Bank Group. It's International Finance Corporation. It's based out of Washington, DC. I was in Delhi. 3 years I worked there. But that entrepreneurship kida, as they call it, was there in me. And I moved from Delhi to Bombay. Not an easy move for a Delhiite to move to Bombay. And how many Delhiites in this? So some smiles I could see. So from Delhi to Bombay, and then setting up a company, coming. And this story I'm telling you because when you get into entrepreneurship kind of a business, or you start something or a startup, you will have to get out of your comfort zone. I was in a maximum comfort zone in 2006 when I moved from IFC to Fino. Working in an international finance corporation, very, very difficult to get in. It's an international position. You get best of amenities, tax-free salary. I had a blue passport, which means that I don't need to get visa for most of the countries in the world. I would just land into those countries. Business class travel, staying in best of the hotels in the world, staying in best of the locations, best of the training places, multi-culture, multi-country exposure. Leaving that comfort zone to going into something like Fino, from a business class to air deccan. How many of you have heard of air deccan? Captain Gopinath. So when they started, they didn't have a seats. They didn't have a seat number. So when they should start the boarding of the plane, everybody used to rush to get the seat. And economy. And then from best of the locations, best of the cities, to a very remote place nobody would have heard of in districts of the country, remote places of the country. But that is where you have to get out of your comfort. You have to seek discomfort. If you are ready to seek discomfort, that is when you will actually become a true entrepreneur. Till the time you want to be in your comfort zone, want to work 9 to 5, then you are meant for an employee kind of a profile. But if you are ready to get out of your comfort zone, ready to slog, ready to be patient, that is when you become a true entrepreneur. It is not something which can be done overnight. There are companies who seek valuations, and then there are companies who seek long-term goals. So you have to build a company which gives you long-term benefits. And once you have a long-term benefits and long-term goals are met, the valuations and everything will come over a period of time. So get this thing in your mind that I'm sure most of you who are in this class would be looking at doing a startup. Yeah? And you have to be ready for that. I'll tell you about my son, the younger one. He was in a private equity. He did his undergrad from US, came back. He worked for 2.5, 3 years in a private equity. And then he got into ISB, so he's going to join in April. He took a 2 months break. You know what is he doing in 2 months? He's actually driving Uber. He is driving people around in the city in Uber. He has become a driver. Because if you have to, and he wants to go there to to have a network of people to understand what startups can do. So you will have to go there. There have been startups, you read stories about people who have built businesses. They have all come out of their comfort zone. They have actually built companies, and they have built it because they went through that rigor of building a company. So getting it out of your comfort zone, I would say, is the biggest thing, so to say. So coming to our Fino journey, so our mission was to create a sustainable banking business for Bharat. Bharat is actually a misnomer. A lot of people think Bharat is only outside the metros, somewhere 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers from Mumbai. आप कहीं आगे चले जाएंगे कहीं पे तो आपको भारत, इवन करजत वगैरह भी शायद भारत में नहीं आएगा. So but Bharat is within cities also. If you look at places like Dombivli, Dharavi, those are the people within the metros which is Bharat is there. So Bharat is not about real, it's a connotation of people. People who are in the lower mass market segment. People who 800 million people, maybe nearly a billion people out of 1.3 billion people are the real Bharat people. So a lot of companies have actually started to solve problems for the urban customers. You see most of the apps, most of the startups are actually focusing on how do we solve problems for the top 300, 400 million people. The biggest challenge in that is that beyond 400 million people, there is no glamour, there is no billboards, there is no private equity money, there is a very long period of making it profitable, and you need that kind of people. You have to run a company, you will hire people. People want to work in a company which has a big brand, which is seen with consumers day in and day out. So working for Bharat means you will have to sacrifice a lot of things. But the opportunity is massive. It is nearly 1 billion people you can serve. So from that point of view, when Fino started his journey in 2006, maybe you were 2-3 years old at that point of time. So that was the mission which we had, and the world has changed in the last 20 years. It's completely changed. From something which is given now, it was very difficult to get at that point of time. For you, a 5G network or a 4G network is given. You don't even think about it. Way back 20 years back, there used to be 2G. There used to be modems. I don't know whether you have heard of modems. They used to dial like this and used to make all kind of funny noises. And we used to get connected. Oh man, the network is up. We can now download something. So that was the time when I'm talking about 20 years back. 35 years, so forget about it. It was a very different world at that point of time. So that was the mission which we started with. As we started in 2006 as a technology company, largely for serving the underserved. We worked for the first 10 years as a BC business correspondent, which was a guidelines issued by RBI, which allowed outsourcing for services and for sourcing as well as servicing of customers. So the first 10 years of journey as Fino Paytech, and then in 2016 we got the license to become a Fino Payments Bank. That is the life when we changed from a BC or a fintech to a bank. Our vision, our mission is to become the preferred bank for our customers by providing the simplest and the most accessible financial services to grow their wealth. And I will talk about why each word of that actually makes it possible. A lot of people would have heard of this Phygital. Yeah? Have you heard of Phygital? And can somebody tell me what Phygital means? Yeah? Physical plus digital. So, when we were building up this business, we realized, and over a period of time also, that physical will take you to ground, to the last level. But the way the digital economy is growing up around 2015-16, you have to merge the physical and the digital together. So that is how the word Phygital actually came in, that over and above your physical network of branches and everything, you should create kind of a technology hub or a digital hub over and above the physical level. The mission which we are working with is looking at 1 billion people. How do we bring them to banking? Because right now, if you look at people, they used to keep money under the pillow or in the kitchen and within the rice, whatever bucket was there. and that is the money which is out of the system. If the world has to grow, if your country has to grow, how can you grow unless and until the entire ecosystem comes together and becomes part of the formal mechanism of the country? So that is where the regulators, the banks, ICICI thought about how do we bring inclusion into the system so that 1 billion people, that time it was not 1 billion, it was 700-800 million people. 700-800 million people at that point of time, how can they become part of the formal economy? So that not only that they can save money, when they will save money, they will create data. That data can be used for your credit. They can become part of the payment systems of the country. Tomorrow they can buy insurance, they can do mutual funds. So that fintech industry is actually looking at the 4 LOBs. The 4 LOBs are, the first LOB is the payment systems, where you have UPI, RTGS, NEFT, all kinds of AEPS, all kinds of payment systems are there. The second is the savings account, CASA, as we normally call it, CASA, FD. So you build up a liability book. The third is the asset book, where you go and lend to people. And the fourth is the mutual fund, insurance, cross-sell, DMAT, bill payments, all of that put together. So the entire fintech industry is working to solve problems on the 4 LOBs. So Fino picked up this problem, how do we reach the last mile in an affordable manner so that it becomes a sustainable business. So the problem statement, what Anu also mentioned when we started in 2006, was to deepen financial services to the last mile in a sustainable manner. Sustainability, I'm sure you must be attending some classes on sustainability. Sustainability means that end of the day, your business should be able to pay for itself so that you don't need to keep on taking money or equity or borrow money from outside. So you have to build business, and as an entrepreneur, don't build businesses where you always continuously seek money from outsiders, from whether it's investors, whether it's banks. Your business, you might seek money from a growth point of view, if you want to grow, if you want to acquire something. But the normal day-to-day operations of a bank or a company has to come from the revenue and the profits it generates. So long you are generating profits on a regular basis, it becomes a sustainable business. So our idea was to build business for Bharat in a sustainable manner. It might look very simple now that we have achieved it, but way back, 20 years back, when you talk about Bharat, 2-3 things comes to your mind: illiteracy, lack of connectivity, low money, low value transaction. So how will you make money from this kind of people? Today, Bharat is very different, and I'll talk about it. And I'll also share some of my experiences which I've actually experienced on the ground. But that Bharat 20 years back was very different from today. Today it's a different world. But to build businesses which can be sustainable for Bharat is a very, very audacious, very difficult goal. And that is the goal when we started. When we used to go to the banks and tell them that we want to do banking transaction outside the branches, we were called pocket bank. Like we used to carry a small machine where you could do transaction. There's some photographs also. Maybe this one you can see. It's like a small device which is like a POS device where you can actually do banking from there. So when you should go to the bank and tell them ki you don't need to go to an ATM, you don't need to go to a branch, a transaction can be done in 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers from your branches. The bank managers and everybody used to laugh at us. They used to say, please stay away. It's not possible. But some of the people who thought that it is possible actually invested in Fino. And you will have to, as an entrepreneur, you will have to get an anchor. Try to get somebody who believes in the story, who is ready to write a check for you in a very early days. Getting money from your family, friends is very easy. Get money from outside. Getting money from outside means you are telling a story to somebody and he is kind of believing in it. So we got some good while we started out of ICICI, but we were in deep waters, on our own we had to swim and sail. So, but we got good anchor customers, good anchor investors. So that helped us. But when we look at 2006, and that point of time, there was no tech innovation. There was nothing as technology. So actually, it was called tech-enabled financial inclusion. And the photo here you see, I don't know whether this will show, but it's a suitcase. This is a suitcase which we used to carry. This guy had a laptop, had a web camera, had a fingerprint. Everything was there. So he used to go there, take a photograph of that person, and immediately issue him a smart card. The reason why we issued smart card because networks were not there. People didn't have any identity. So we used to carry, we were called suitcase bankers. Because we used to carry suitcase, and when we used to carry, people used to come out and think, there is some event happening. And the ladies used to dress up, have bindi and everything, and they used to come for the photographs. And it was a very different experience. And we used to have camps like that. People in hundreds used to come and enroll themselves because it gave them an identity. Today with Aadhaar, that question has been solved permanently. But way back in 2006 to 2010-12, when before Aadhaar period, people didn't have an identity. So the suitcase banker actually gave them an identity. We used to issue them a smart card which had their photo. Unfortunately, I don't think so we have a photo of that. But it had a photo. So they used to carry it. People used to tell us. In Delhi, when I visited a homeless shelter, in somewhere around maybe 15, 17 years back, the rickshawala guy told me that when I am in the evening, when I'm coming back to my shelter, I have that collection of the day. And the policeman used to stop me and used to take money because I didn't have anything to show that I am a genuine guy. He probably wanted something like that. And they used to keep money with the dukandar in somewhere in Delhi. And they didn't know any mathematics, any calculation. If they would have deposited 100 rupees, they would have get 60 rupees back. So those kind of problems were there. But with this, he got an identity. We had put a banking point in the homeless shelter in Chandni Chowk. And he used to come in the evening with that identity, used to deposit that money. It was an offline solution because a lot of you are from technology, most of you are from technology. That time, online solutions were not available. So it was a stored value card. You understand stored value cards? Like a PPI, prepaid instrument. So it was an offline device with a stored value card, a smart card, and every time you do a transaction, the money used to get stored on the smart card and used to get linked at the back end later on. So that is the kind of innovation we did. We brought in suitcase banker, we brought in the POS device, which is there, the biometric smart card solution. We had a lot of challenges in Bharat. Power was one issue. Hardly power used to be there. Network was there, not there. We should thank Jio because Jio actually brought in the data revolution in the country 6-7 years back. Before that, it always used to be a challenge. The identity was missing. Multiple challenges were there. The branches were 200 kilometers, 100 kilometers away from their operations or where they were staying or living. Why would somebody wake up in the morning and want to do banking? So a lot of challenges around that. Then we started to look at how we can reach the last mile. So we started to build BC points, business correspondent points across the country. We also experimented with Fino Money Mart, which was a remittance point. People could come out to that point and do transactions. So that was the first 10 years of our journey as a payments bank. Before a payments bank, we were working to deepen financial services to the last mile in a sustainable manner. That's the problem statement. So from 2016 to 2026, a transformative journey. We became a bank in 2015. We got the license. 2017, we applied. We started operating as a payments bank. Today, in about 2 months back, because of our performance, we also applied for conversion into a small finance bank. And RBI gave us an in-principle approval to become a small finance bank. So I am assuming people understand what a payments bank and a small finance bank is. Is there somebody who doesn't understand or?
It'd be good to, or at least using a name.
Okay, so payments bank is like Airtel Payments Bank, Fino Payments Bank, India Post, Paytm, NSDL, multiple payments bank. Payments bank are allowed to do everything else except for lending. And you will say, what is a bank which doesn't do lending? So it's kind of a bank but without lending. Small finance bank is a smaller version of a universal bank. Like ICICI is a big bank, but you have a small finance bank like AU. You have heard of AU Small Finance Bank, Equitas, Ujjivan. So they are the smaller version of a universal bank. So they can do everything else, but they have some PSL criteria. You know, PSL, priority sector lending criteria are there, which is more difficult for a small finance bank. And there are some amount restrictions to which you can do portfolio. So it's virtually a smaller version of a universal bank. So from 2016 to 2026, we expanded our network. We created nearly 2 million merchant points across the country. So these are your kirana shops, your mom and pop shops, your telecom recharge shops, your photocopier shops. All those shops, you converted them into a BC point. So they become a BC network. So anywhere you go, we used to say, jokingly, we used to say in our office that from a plane, if you see a bulb which is there, that point should be a Fino point. So that is the level of expansion we did, and we converted all those shopkeepers into a banker. So it was a big growth for them, coming from a shop to becoming a banker. I don't know how many of you come from a rural background or non-metro background. A small shop in a town who has been there for many years is just providing you normal ration. Tomorrow he can open an account for you. The amount of empowerment which is there for that guy, opening an account, transferring money, doing bill payments for them, accepting checks for them, it's a big empowerment. Their status in the society went up multifold times. So that's the network expansion we did. We provided multiple products and services, your normal CASA accounts, payment services, credit services, all of them we provided so that we can provide a full horizon of services. You must have heard about India Stack. Everybody has heard about India Stack? Yeah? So India Stack has multiple, in fact, in the last 5 to 7 years, there has been a multiple growth which has come on the part of the government initiatives, which is called public infrastructure, digital public, DPI, digital public infrastructure you would have heard of. So Aadhaar, which used to be an identity, became a platform where you can actually use it for money point of view, for transferring money, for withdrawing money. You can actually use it from an account opening, eKYC point of view. So Aadhaar became a kind of from a bank point of view, it became a pseudo point where they can actually use it for account opening and transferring money. The entire JAM Trinity, which they call Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile, the government initiative created nearly 40 crore bank accounts in a matter of 10 years. The Aadhaar actually enabled services at a very cheap cost, at a disposable of everybody. Then the mobile revolution. We have more than a billion smartphones in the country or mobile phones in the country. So the entire JAM Trinity is one big DPI or the one big India Stack which happened. The other ones like UPI came around 2000, I think 18, 19, somewhere around that time, 16, 17. So UPI, actually everybody uses UPI now. 80% of the transactions are happening in UPI. Earlier it used to be debit cards and credit cards. Debit cards volume have come down to maybe 3-4%. Most of the transactions are now happening on UPI. So the India Stack actually enabled us, that the 4G, the 3G revolution on the network side actually enabled us for banks like us to actually grow. So we got benefited from the DPI which got created between 2014 to 2024. And the entire revolution happened on account of that. The entire GST revolution. It's a big revolution because now everybody has to pay GST digitally. The MSMEs are able to get credit because they can look at the GST documents and the money can come in. So a lot of benefits actually happened. So we transformed from a payments bank to a SFB. We are in the process of doing it. A new chapter again begins. So as an entrepreneur, as a company, when you start a company, you would come with a mindset that I want to do this. But over a period of time, it will keep on morphing. And you as people have to be agile and smart and non-rigid. If you are rigid, नहीं मैं तो यही सोच रहा हूँ, मैंने यही करना है, and this is the way I will be doing it, then the world will change. when you will not change and you will be left behind. So when we started as a technology company, we became a services company, then we became a payments bank, and now a new chapter for us is a small finance bank. So that is the way the entire mindset of an entrepreneur has to keep on changing. Today, what is there today may not be there tomorrow. And there are ample number of examples, whether you look at BlackBerry, Nokia, within India also there are many companies who have a very fixed mindset and they did not change with the consumer mind. So you have to change with the consumer mind. You will have to modify yourself, your thinking. And that is something which is an art which you have to learn. Because destiny holds something different for you. You start with something, you will probably end up with something very, very different. But for that, you will have to be ready for that. And 9 out of 10 times, what you went to do will never happen. But if you are at it, keep on doing it on a regular basis, be bolted with that objective of providing building up a startup in a sustainable manner, you will reach somewhere. But you have to be patient. You have to spend that amount of time. So for us, a big journey from a BC company in 2006 to 2016 to a payments bank, 2026 to a small finance bank. And if everything goes well, in 10 years, 2036, we'll probably become a universal bank. And that is the objective, the goal at which we are working. In a life of a bank, it goes into generations. You don't look at years, you look at decades. Banks are built over decades. Some of the banks are 100 plus years. Most of the PSUs are 100 years. ICICI Bank is 70 years plus. ICICI Bank means ICICI Limited, which started in 1955, 70 year plus. So banks are built up in decades. Your businesses will take time to settle. You will have to be patient. So that was the first part of my presentation, talking about the problem statement which we started to address and how things changed in the matter of 20 years from where we started to where we are, and the next journey which we want to do. This looks very, very exciting, and there's a lot of opportunities which is there. So continuing, this is one of our leading milestones. We, as a payments bank, it's a very difficult business model. A lot of people actually said that this is a non-sustainable, non-starter payments model because it doesn't allow lending. But we were the first payments bank to get a scheduled license. We were the first payments bank to become profitable. We were the first payments bank to get listed. We are the first and the only payments bank to pay taxes on our profits because we have wiped off all our losses of the past. We are the first and the only payments bank to get a small finance bank license. I think I've covered large part of it. So a lot of firsts for us, but obviously we didn't start with that. It just kept on happening for us because the amount of rigor we put in. I think Anu talked about the second part is about, yeah. Very, very good question. In fact, banking is all about trust, and trust doesn't get built up over a period of time. Fortunately for us, in the first 10 years of our journey, we were a business correspondent. So we were working on behalf of other banks. So while Fino used to be there, but it was under the banner of a Union Bank or our ICICI Bank or some other big banks like SBI or others. So under that banner, we created our own small identity. And because for the first 10 years, we were there with them in their journey from basic transfer of money, remittances, to opening an account for a public sector bank or a private sector bank, we could gain that trust. When we became a payments bank, again, now that we had our own brand and we had to create our own identity, we obviously we invested with that. But we also got BPCL, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, which is the second largest oil marketing company in the country. They invested a good amount of money in Fino. The idea was to bring banking in the petrol pumps. So when you go to a petrol pump to fill up your gas, you can do a basic bank transfer or a bill payments or open an account or transfer money in account. So the BPCL also helped us create that trust because our logos were put up in BPCL outlets. So people used to see that. But eventually we created some 150 to 200 branches also. So the branches are a big visible point for any consumer. the moment they see physical branch, the trust automatically comes in. There is a branch. If there is a problem, we can go. So a lot of people, one of the reason why rural India is not, I will not say not, but slowly moving into digital, because they don't have a physical presence. So if tomorrow you do a transfer through any of the PSP and the money doesn't go, the guy doesn't know where to go and complain. Because you might write, he can't write an email. He will call up the IVR. IVR also will not be working most of the times. The IVRs are very expensive propositions. So it becomes very difficult. But trust can only be gathered, built up over a period of time. And we were taking money from people. It's not like we were giving money. So when you are giving money, it's easier. तो जब तक आप पैसे देते हो तब तक कि आपका हाथ ऊपर होता है. उसके बाद पैसे देने के बाद अब सारी उम्र आपका हाथ नीचे रहेगा, है ना. तो पैसे देना is very easy because you are starting from a position of strength. But when you are taking money, he's parting with his savings, small savings, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 rupees. So, but trust can only be built over a period of time. Obviously, a lot of efforts on the ground of the people. Our biggest trust point was our merchants. See, that merchant which was there in that village was there for many years. So people knew that merchant. He used to buy his stuff from that merchant. So once he knows that merchant and he knows that he's working for Fino, that trust automatically comes in. ये पैसे लेकर नहीं भागेगा. In metros, in urban India and rural India, urban maybe it's not like that कि people keep on shutting their shops and moving to other locations. But rural में people don't shut up. पीछे दुकान घर होता है, आगे दुकान होती है. Most of them will have that kind of a setup. So people know each other, and that also helps to build the trust. So coming to this Bharat consumer conversation, I would say it's a very big opportunity, guys. Can you get some water? Sorry. It's a massive opportunity. And especially at this point of time, when the divide between the urban or the Bharat and the India is slowly getting blurred. And why I'm saying this, because I see it happening. And I'll give you another example. This was somewhere around 5-6 years back. I was in one place just outside of Varanasi. So it was a tin fabricator. They used to make those suitcases of tin. And a family there, husband, wife, and his, I think, 13-14-year-old son. While the parents were not educated on digital and they had no idea about YouTube and others, but the son, 14 years, was super excited. He must have become now 22. Maybe, I don't know whether he's in IIT or not, but a lot of aspirational kids I've seen in rural India. So he was fully understanding what a digital world. He knew about YouTube. He knew about WhatsApp way back 7-8 years back. So that kind of understanding is there. And those younger generations are now teaching their parents and now moving into that direction. So to me, and if somebody is saying maybe in 10 years, the definition of Bharat and India will go away, is my feeling. While income disparity will continue to be there, middle income will continue to grow, the bottom of the pyramid will keep on moving up, the higher up, the top level will also get more wealth. But from the opportunity point of view, if you are looking at building up something for Bharat or for the younger Bharat population, let me further make it more clear. The younger Bharat population is nothing different from all of you sitting in this room. There is absolutely no difference. To some extent, I would say they are even more aspirational. You look at the cricket team of the country, how many of them come from metros? You look at the startups, people, founders who are there, how many of them have come from metros? Younger generation in Bharat are definitely more aspirational. They have adopted digital in a big way. Everybody knows about digital, YouTube. They spend a lot of money in Instagram, YouTube. TikTok type they make those 1 minute, half minute, 2 minute videos. So a lot of digital adoption is there. OTTs. There's lot of time to spend and lot of time to build on that. So the information asymmetry, which used to be there 20, 30 years back, is no longer there. The moment anything gets released on the digital platform, the world knows it. And the digital platform is the biggest platform which doesn't differentiate between haves and have-nots. And the data in India has become so bloody cheap that nobody bothers to see how much it will cost. So with the data availability, ubiquitous availability of data across the country, the digital adoption in younger Bharat is phenomenal. And they will, in 20 years, 10 years, they will take over India. They will, and I'm very confident the kind of stories I hear from people, the kind of aspirations they carry, it is a different world. They are all informed. Because of the communication becoming so clear, information is available to everybody, decision making becomes much simpler. So a Bharat consumer, whether on digital, whether decision making, is already up there. Willingness to experiment. So people in that generation, because they have nothing to lose, they are ready to experiment more. We somewhere feel, अगर ऐसा करेंगे तो ये नुकसान हो जाएगा. If you do this, what will happen to this? But they don't mind. They are ready to experiment as much as possible. And the fourth thing is, while we all spend money, but they are value conscious people. They will look at the value, how much money they will, how much they are spending and what value they will get out of it. Probably they will not go to the best of the restaurants in the city, but they will go to restaurants. They will spend their money, but they will look at the value. So to me, the difference between a Bharat and an urban is blurring by the years. In 10 years from now, when all of you will be there, or maybe most of you will have, or some of you will have your own startups. Some of you would be working for startups. Both my kids have given away working in a big company. Like we started 30, 40 years back. It was always to work in a big company. Now nobody wants to work in a big company. Everybody wants to work in a startup. And it's a very different world. In fact, at our home, most of the time, it's about conversations around business and startups and the way the Indian economy and the way the startup ecosystem is growing. So the consumer definition will change, and you should keep that in mind. It is changing very, very rapidly. I think the third part of my presentation talks about my leadership lessons, and as not my only, but that talks to the second part of it. But largely, when I look at an entrepreneur, if you're starting a business, what to me, it could be different for different people. But for me, these are the top 5 things. Obviously, there's a long laundry list. But to me, vision and purpose, there has to be a goal on on which you are trying to build your startup. So you have to have a good vision, a purpose behind what you are trying to do. So it cannot be that वो कर रहा है तो मैं भी कर लेता हूँ, या यूएस में ऐसा हो रहा है तो ऐसा कर लेते हैं. स्पेशली फॉर भारत, यूएस में आपको कोई सोल्यूशन नहीं मिलेगा. मे बी लैटिन अमेरिका में मिलेगा कुछ, साउथ ईस्ट एशिया वगैरह में कुछ ऑप्शंस हैं जो सिमिलर सोल्यूशंस हैं. बट यू नीड टू हैव अ विजन एंड पर्पस behind your startup which you want to build. Humility and authenticity, I think that is something which been there for 100 years, will live there for 100, 500 years. And it is, I'm telling you from bottom of my heart, as you grow higher and higher in your positions, you have to become more and more humble. If arrogance sets in you, that is the day when you start going down. That is the day when you stop listening to people. You surround yourself with yes mans, and that is when you start ignoring advices of your fellow colleagues, your peers. So humility and authenticity is very important. People see through it. People know who is humble, who is not humble. Empathy from a business point of view to your employees, to your consumers. I think that is something which has to be there in any businesses which you build. Another piece which I personally believe and is delegation and empowerment. A lot of people want to keep everything with themselves. A lot of promoters, CEOs. But I believe that unless you don't delegate people, how will you grow? You have only 10 hours in a day, 8 hours in a day, 12 hours in a day. For some people, maybe 14 hours in a day. But you cannot do everything on your own. And when you hire people because of the skills they bring, na? And if you ignore them for that skills, you are doing a disservice to your company. So delegation and empowerment is important, and you have to be risk takers. In an entrepreneur business, risk is paramount. If you think, and that same thing, seeking discomfort, is very similar to this. If you think you can grow business without taking any risk, I think then it is not possible. You will have to take a risk. And especially at your age, all of you are so young. Most of you can take a lot of risk. I have seen a lot of startups from IIT Bombay who have come and met me in the last maybe 1 year, 2 years. A lot of them, 27, 28. Sir, हमें एक business दे दो. We want you to be our first customer. हम free में कर देंगे सारा काम. आजकल AI का ज़माना है. Everybody is talking about artificial intelligence, and people are building up companies. I would say 5 out of 10 companies are from IIT Mumbai, maybe even more. And all of them want to work on AI. They are looking at different small problems and identifying and building businesses, and people are ready to back them up. You are from such a great institution, your label will actually get you your first investor. You need to identify the problem which you are working on and then build on that. So, lot of risk taking will be required as an entrepreneur, is my belief. These are my 5 top leadership lessons. I think one thing which I'm sure your parents also keep on telling you, these are the value systems which are there. You need humility, honesty, and hard work. There is no substitute to that. At whatever level, whether you are at 25, whether you are at 50, or whether you are at 75, you have to continue to do hard work. You have to continue to be humble, and you have to continue to be honest with you and for your colleagues. So honesty, humility, and hard work is something which is a lifelong mantra for me and has been there for me from beginning. Fortunately, I was groomed under a lot of leaders in the beginning of my career, and you should be ready to listen to them. Listen to people. They have a lot of things to tell you. Don't keep your eyes and ears closed. Listen to people. Get 1 or 2 mentors in your life who will help you understand the complexities of building businesses. Could be anybody, could be your parents, who knows. To me, the 5 things which are from path to success is being ambitious. I think if you are not ambitious, you can't reach anything. As I said, the tragedy in life doesn't lie in not reaching the goal. The tragedy in life is not to have a goal. So have a goal, have a mission, what you want to achieve. Be ambitious, be courageous. One of our values in Fino, 2 big values which differentiates us is courage and frugality. So frugality is something which talks about do more with less. Courage talks about to take that leap of faith, yes, I can do it. When we started the payments bank, the world said it is not possible. A lot of media articles, everything came. In fact, I told a couple of media guys, why are you killing the child in the womb itself? Let him or her come out at least. Then we'll see how a payments bank will evolve. But a lot of negativity was there. So courage, we took courage as one of our values because it was a fight to prove. In fact, the entire Fino ecosystem of 20 years has been a fight, from building a bank outlet to building a payments bank and now to an SFB. The third I would say is to embrace pressure. बहुत स्ट्रेस आएगा भाई, बहुत स्ट्रेस आएगा, बहुत प्रेशर आएगा. अभी तो when you are young, so comparisons will be lesser. I am sure your parents must be comparing already, so leave that part. But pressure बहुत आएगा. You will see your colleagues, some of your colleagues do well, better than you. Even if you are working or if you are a startup, the expectation from you will be much higher. Your own expectation from yourself will actually kill you more than anybody else. So you have to embrace that pressure. You have to live with that pressure. There is no substitute. Stress, if somebody says na ki stress mat lo, stress nahi hoga, stress nahi lena chahiye, I think that is a fallacy. In today's time, stress is there in everything you do. from the moment you wake up in the morning to the time you go to sleep. Even in sleep, you are stressed. A lot of people wear that Whoop and all that digital things. When you wake up in the morning, even if you have had a good sleep, you will see, hey, bhai, sirf 2 hours of deep sleep. What is all this nonsense? I am so stressed. I can't, immediately your body will give up. It's not working. I need to go back to sleep. So stress will be there in every day, anything you do. But you have to understand to live with stress. And let me tell you, we were fortunate that we, in the first maybe 15-20 years of our professional life, or first 35 years of our life, 40 years, we didn't have digital that much. तो एक बारी घर से निकलते थे तो पीसीओ पे जाके मम्मी को फ़ोन करते थे कि हाँ मैं रात को आऊँगा, कोई एसएमएस पे या इंस्टा पे कुछ मैसेजेस वगैरह नहीं होते थे. अभी तो कोई व्हाट्सएप करो, अगर उसने 1 मिनट में रिप्लाई नहीं करा तो उसका भी स्ट्रेस हो जाता है. यार व्हाई इज ही नॉट रिप्लाइंग, इज देयर अ प्रॉब्लम, हैव आई सेड समथिंग टू हिम और हर. I'm talking professionally. Personally, though, I'm sure stress will be more. But in today's world, because of the digital, the stress has also gone up. So stress will be there in your life. You will have to learn how to deal with stress. And stress, and with age, like a wine, you will be starting to embrace stress. You will be able to live with stress and pressure. That is forgiven. But don't panic. Stay calm. So everything will settle down. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. Good times, we have in Fino, it's like an ECG thing. We have seen good times, bad times. Every few years, few quarters, we see something good, something bad. But everything will change. Everything will change. There is nothing which is permanent. You just have to be at it for a very long time. That's what stay positivity. The next values which are there. Because the moment you will have that positive mindset, and as a CEO of a company, I'm assuming most of you will start up something or be co-founders, you have to, even if you believe, you should be able to deceive your face. Your face should not tell what the problem is. You should stay calm, you should stay positive, because people will watch you. There will be thousands of eyes which are watching you every day, day in and day out. And the last one I talk about, learn from failures. I think there is no substitute to failures. Everybody talks about it. You will fail more than you succeed. But every failure will teach you something and you have to learn from there. And if you don't learn and you keep on making the same mistake, then there is a problem with you. But learn from that, and maybe next time you will not do it. So these are the 5 to me, 5 principles on which I have built. Be ambitious, courageous, embrace pressure, stay positive, and learn from your failures. Failures will teach you a lot of things. In fact, in jobs, when we hire, if somebody says that I had a startup and people come, 2-3 saal startup kara, nahi chala. They have actually seen all of it. They have handled pressures, they have built businesses, they have went around talking to investors, a lot of work they have done. It's not easy. From the time you get an idea to making it run on the ground, and when the rubber will hit the road, when you start talking to your consumers, it's a very big thing. For a lot of people, startup means like it's an easy thing. It's a very difficult thing. It really takes a lot of courage to build that. And coming to the last piece of the presentation, we'll have about 20 minutes or so for any Q&A. And to me, fintech space, as I explained, are the large 4 LOBs. The first is the payments. There's a lot of work which has happened on the payments side. But payments don't really make money, because UPI doesn't have an MDR. You know MDR, merchant discount rate. So if you pay the merchant, there is no charge which the company does to the merchant. So payment systems are there, will become the bedrock of your businesses in fintech space. But with payment, you will have to do more. You will have to keep on using that data of that customer, whether it is the balances which are there, if he's opened an account with you. So using that data, you can look at multiple services from a fintech opportunity point. One is the credit. Credit comes first, actually, because of the data you have of that customer, the payment history, you know exactly where he is spending money. I know that 15% of my customers go to grocery, 12%, 15% go to buy petrol, 10% go to a daru wala ke dukaan. I know that data, 20% goes to a grocery shop. We have that data, where is he spending money. So we can make patterns of his regular income. We can know where he is spending money, how much money he is transferring, how much money is coming from, where the money is coming. All that data is there. So the payment system becomes the bedrock of everything. On top of it, you have companies like Bharat Pay, even Paytm is doing a lot of lending, PhonePe is getting into it. So a lot of these companies have come up which has built businesses on payments and now have started to build lending on top of it. So credit becomes a de facto first option in fintech where you can actually build businesses, and a lot of long-term profitability businesses can be built around credit. The most, I would say, credit to me is still something people have been able to crack and build, but insurance and mutual funds, especially low value SIPs, low value mutual funds. You would have read in papers that people have stopped keeping a lot of money in the bank. FDs are coming down because people have started to invest in the mutual funds, SIP plan or general. So a lot of money is moving to mutual fund, but those are large value urban kind of money. Rural India, the commission structure is so pathetically low that to actually make money in selling a mutual fund, unless you make it a part of the journey of a customer to do a transaction or anything else, is very difficult. So building a fintech space, there is company like Fisdom and others who have started to build something on the mutual fund side also, but it's a very, very long, very general. But that's a very big space because the entire consumer behavior is changing from keeping money in a bank to investing money outside of the banking ecosystem. Third, insurance. Insurance industry presentation, if you see 20 years back also we were at 2-3% of penetration. Today also we are at 3% of penetration. The opportunity is very big. The government of India has tried to sell a lot of low value insurance products to consumers. But again, if you want to build something on insurance, there are a lot of Digit, like is one insurance company which has come up. There are a lot of other, there is Toffee also, I heard there was a Toffee, the name of the company was Toffee, which sells small insurance products. So a lot of opportunities are there. My own data point, if I look at, we have 1.6 crore customers who have a Fino bank account. Out of the 1.6 customers, roughly 1 crore customers have a smartphone because we are serving the Bharat of the country. So it's not like everybody has smartphones. While in urban, everybody would have a smartphone. Out of 1.6, 1 crore customers have smartphones. Out of 1 crore customers, nearly 60-65 lakh customers are actually doing UPI. So in the value chain, if I look at digital, YouTube and Instagram and all the TikTok kind of thing comes on top of it. Everybody is ready to experiment, look at it. But when it comes to payments and using digital for payments or for banking, the number of people who have comfort with that shrinks. But out of 1.6 customers, 1 crore customers have smartphones, 65 lakhs customers are actually using it for digital payments. That talk volumes. The opportunity which is there, and this is just a very small subset of the entire population. So today, when 65 lakh people will actually move up the value chain, they will like to do credit, they would like to do mutual funds, insurance, and this is just one subset. Imagine a world, and in fact, one of my mentors used to tell me that in the history of the world, it is never seen that 2 billion population of the world is moving up from a poor country or a poor population to from a have-not to a have. 2 billion population of the world. If India has moved 200, 300, 400 million people in the last 5, 7, 10 years, the entire world has moved. So this is something in history which we are witnessing, the rise of the Bharat, the rise of the opportunity which is there in the Bharat, and it will be foolish on our part not to look at that opportunity because that is where the money will be. That is where the opportunity is to work for them. It will not be very attractive. It will not be sexy. It will not have billboards. It will not have private equity money. You will have to go and rigor and spend time on that. But just look at this one subset of data that such transformation of people are happening. Imagine 5 years, 10 years from now. India is about 400 million people in India are using UPI for services. The challenge for UPI, and that is what they are working on, is to bring the next 400 million people under UPI. So they have tried many things are under works. But imagine the opportunity when the next 400 million people will start using UPI. The world of opportunities for all of us will open, and there's a lot of businesses which we have to do. You have to be mentally ready to face that long journey which is there, and building anything for Bharat will take its own sweet time. And with this positive note, let me just end my presentation, and I'll be more than happy to take any questions from the group.
While I wait for the first question, sorry, I'll take a minute. Can you all do your attendance or say quickly? And in a moment, I hope to see a couple of hands go up. हमारे ज़माने में attendance नहीं था.
Huh?
हमारे ज़माने में attendance नहीं था. I don't know about SRCC, but IIT Bombay didn't have. But now we have gotten harsher and have to do these things. Chalo, I think by now they would have.
Attendance has to be done on this thing, biometric, or they have to do it on the laptop?
We have an app.
Oh, acha.
The biometric used to take half the class timing would go when people would just stand there and do biometric. So we now have an app.
Very good. Yes, ma'am. Can you come again? In payments bank space. So, a very good question actually. So basically she is saying, how did you make money? When payments bank cannot lend, ये question बहुत लोगों के दिमाग में था, ये बैंक ही कैसा है जो पैसे बांटेगा नहीं तो पैसे बनेंगे कैसे? So we did couple of things in our the way we build up the bank. Our DNA was one of the big things. We said we'll charge for everything. We will not give anything free. In fact, Dr. Chakrabarti, who was PNB chairman and then became DG of RBI, said that poor people always pay more. A bottle of water, 10 rupees, may not cost you anything, but for a poor people, he might not buy it, but that's another thing. But for them, 10 rupees is a very high amount of money. So we decided that we are giving services to people. We will charge them for the money, for the services, because when you give everything free, it can only to some extent build that behavior, but then people don't value it. And if you would have seen all the models, whether you look at any D2C model, they started to do it free for the first couple of years, and now they started to charge quite a bit, and it starts to hurt at times. So, but we started from day one that we are going to charge. We also were of the view that we have to build up a model in which the cost is low. Technology to me is very important. I'm not a techie guy, but outside my core work as a CEO, maximum time I spend with technology team. I think to me technology is, and you will love to hear that, is technology is the center of any business today. Everything else has to revolve around technology. Whether you look at customer acquisition, whether you look at customer servicing or operations or products, everything has technology in between. So we said that we will invest in technology. We will not invest too much money in the physical legs and paperwork. So if anybody came to me with a process which said that paper sign karna padega, paper move karega, I said no. Even if it means that we have to spend an extra money, so technology became the key, which helped us to build up a model in which we make it very cost effective. We also made our merchants our partners. So while they were doing servicing for us, so every rupee we made, we shared 60-65 paisa with them. So it's like a Kirana shop having a Colgate Palmolive brand and a Fino brand. So if he's making 2,000 rupees from selling toothpaste and all that, he was making 2,000 rupees selling Fino also. So he bought into that, and some merchants are making 20,000, 40,000 rupees per month. The amount of money these guys are making is phenomenally good for them. So their families, they have put runners on the ground also. So a couple of things that we will continue to build businesses through our merchants, create one of the largest distribution, build technology on top of it, and do partnerships. So which we at that time we coined it DTP. I don't know whether many of you know desktop printing used to be something, probably you would have never heard of it, but Anu and I have lived through that phase. So DTP is basically for us distribution, technology and partnership. The other thing we said for our business, we will do CSR. What does CSR mean? CSR means corporate social responsibility for a lot of people. For us, it was a different meaning. It means convenience, simplicity, and respect. So we will make the bank so convenient that at 7 in the morning and 10 in the night, closer to their home, they can go and do a service or can open an account, transfer money. Because the merchant, दुकान वाला क्या पीछे घर है, आगे दुकान है, खटखट करोगे वो आ जाएगा. तो वो आपकी 7 बजे सवेरे भी आपकी सर्विस करेगा, रात को 10 बजे भी. बैंक तो 10 बजे खुलेंगे, 2 बजे बंद हो जाएंगे. सैटरडे संडे बंद होगा. तो हम तो nearly 14 hours a day. So we provide lot of convenience, lot of simplicity. Opening an account, transferring money, everything on biometric, nothing paper, sign, anything. Just do fingerprint and you are done with it. And respect. Because we felt and we saw the data and we visited a lot of branches. We saw that even in rural India, the branches are very, very crowded. I don't know if any of you have visited a rural branch. It's like a mela. So people, what they do is, if they have to, they will first stand in a line where you will update the passbook. Then they will go and stand in a teller line, withdraw money, then again go to the passbook line and get entry into that. So 3 entries for 1 transaction, and branches are overcrowded. So for a branch manager to give respect to a lot of customers was impossible. So we said, yes, our merchant will only look at 25 customers a day. So we will build. So the entire CSR journey for us, the DTP, the framework on which we build up the bank, and the fact that we will charge the customer and we will create a low cost, zero fixed asset kind of a model. So model, and when you start your own business now, you will have to spend a lot of time understanding the way you want to build up the business. Look at small things which can really help you. And there is no shame in it. There is absolutely no shame in it. Anybody else?
Nowadays, some people operate local website. So initial thought, my initial perspective was they are charging commission something like that. But now I feel like you are solving the whole problem. I really understand. If Fino was not there, there were lots of problems. In one of earlier lectures, ma'am was saying about value of some product, like paracetamol. It is for 1 or 2 rupees. It's the cost or price, but value is different.
Yeah.
Because its value is way much high because
It creates a lot of solutions to you.
so it's high value. Similarly, people are ready to pay even in rural area the commission because they have serious problem with the other banks. As you were explaining, they have to stand in a queue. Actually, I am from rural area.
Which city, which town, village?
Village in Telangana.
Acha. We have a lot of business in Telangana, Andhra, both.
So, I when I have to renew my loan. Other than that, I do operate everything on digitally. But I have to specially go to the bank to renew my loan. It took about 5 days to renew the one loan. Other things I can do with mobile. But even for that day, I have to wait lose one more day to do that. Similar. But how did you identify this problem? I think you are from urban area, so that's what my.
So you are right, in fact. So let me just come back to the first part of the question. So customers don't mind paying. The reason why I'm saying this is that when a consumer has to travel 40 kilometers to do a banking transaction, that means he will spend 100 rupees going in the rickshaw and coming back or whatever the bus. He will have to spend half a day in going to a bank branch because that means that he loses his half day salary or half day wage, which could be 200 rupees, 300 rupees in rural India. And then it doesn't mean that you go to a bank or a branch and you will get service. There will be long queues. The teller, the system, bank systems may be down, the cash may be out, so you might have to come back again. So the entire narrative around convenience actually started, and even when you were doing remittances, earlier there used to be post office which should charge 5% commission. We are charging 1%. So the value which we were bringing to the consumer was much more than what it was there for a normal customer. Coming to the second question, the financial inclusion was a national agenda. It was built up. It was one of the things where the government of India and the regulator felt that we have to deepen financial services. We have to bring the general economy or general people back to the economy. So that was the broad thesis on which the objective was there. But the solutioning part was done by us. When we looked at the problems of network and electricity, people don't have identity, how do we do money, the smart card, suitcase based. So solutioning was done by us, but the general population of 700-800 million people was there who didn't have a bank account, so underserved in a way. A lot of them were underbanked also at that point of time or unbanked, but now from unbanked they have become underbanked and underserved. So a lot of those problems have gone away. But yes, problem today also I'm telling you, mutual fund insurance is a big problem. How many people credit, how many people will get it? So problem is there. The thing is, how do you find a solution to handle or to resolve that problem is the key.
Earlier also there used to be people who used to retail shop owners or something like that. Those were your partners or like?
So when we started as a BC business, we became partner. In fact, the government of India in 1969 make banks nationalized. I don't know whether you have a chapter on that or people have read about it. In 1969, a lot of those private banks were nationalized, and all of them came. The objective was to deepen financial services that way back in 1969. But because technology was not there, other solutions were not there. That is when in 2006 it was a technology-backed financial inclusion. And then with Aadhaar and DPI, which came in, made life easy for everybody, and this problem to a large extent could be handled.
Maybe, okay. Go ahead, raise the question.
Hello, sir. Recently, I was researching about the trade finance domain. So, I want to ask that I came across the frauds in that. I want to ask how Fino handles the issue of fake invoices or what you can say duplicate invoices in the trade finance ecosystem.
So right now as a payments bank, we are not into trade finance, but as a fraud is becoming a big problem for everybody. The digital frauds which are there. So there are a lot of solutions which we have built, from onboarding of a customer merchant to entire the framework on which we are actually doing a lot of analytics, a lot of AI tools have been built on fraud management. There's Government of India. There's a Mule Hunter which has come from RBI Innovation Hub, through which we can identify mule accounts. Department of Telecom actually circulates on a monthly basis mobile numbers which they identify as frauds. There is a Government of India entity called I4C which is handled by a lot of police people, which actually works as a coordination between multiple agencies to identify early frauds and early signals, so that money movement doesn't happen, because the fraud immediately it happens, the money moves within seconds. It goes into multiple accounts and there is no way you can recover that back. But fraud is one big thing which the government is, every bank is facing. And obviously everybody is working at it. The solution is still some time away. But it's a big issue right now. And awareness is, I think, is key. So a lot of consumer awareness is also happening on account of the fraud system. But fraud is again a big opportunity for all of you to build business, because frauds are going to digital, and digital mein frauds तो होंगे ही होंगे. So if you can build up fraud solutions, I think a lot of KYC, fraud, kind of lat-long kind of solutions have come up in the recent past. A lot of fintechs are working on that problems also.
I'll add a question to what he was asking. Essentially, I think what he was trying to get at was, how do you decide whether to solve a tougher problem or to solve an easier problem? And I know the answer is evident in the question, but it's not, because more often than not we hear of people addressing India's challenges, the metro India's challenges. So I think that was in some manner.
See, like I said, when you start with something, you don't know where you'll end. It was not by design that we wanted to solve a tough problem and be at it for the last 20 years. But now that we started it, we didn't want to leave it midway. And this problem has been there for a very long time, but technology was not there. Technology actually made it possible to look at. When we started this, we said 5 years and we are done. In fact, we said, okay, we were sitting in somewhere in Bandra bandstand, and we were discussing this. He said, 5 years हो जाएगा, we are a technology company, we'll solve this problem like this. But वो अभी तक that day has not come and we think that the problem is solved. Problems are there. It keeps on coming in a different form. But tougher problems may be difficult for you to get funding and everything else and things. But also means that the entry barriers are also there. So if you solve simple problems or somebody is already working or copying it, it may not last that long. So, and we never thought it's going to be that tough. We never thought it's going to be, but yeah, it's somehow it kept on compounding in a way.
We can take one more question in class, otherwise we are outside for another 15.
The backbenchers are living to their reputation.
No, backbenchers will not live with the reputation. Come on, backbencher, one question. Come.
Nothing to Fino, anything you want to ask.
Put your hand, we'll run up with the mic. Anybody?
Everybody is full. They want to. We have a next lecture coming up.
Not for, yeah, there is a class here. But I don't know, all of them are ready to go and eat dinner or what? But I'm sure they'll surround you outside, so we'll step
No
out.
problem. I hope it was useful. And as I said earlier, I started with life will keep on posing you new challenges, but you have to be at it. Don't give it up because it's never easy. Anything you do will never be easy. So continue to be at it, and you will see one day you will see there's some light end of the tunnel.
Thank you.
Thank you.